These are the visuals that you are getting from the White House. President Donald Trump meeting Volodymyr Zelenskyy. This is quite an interesting exchange. It was a warm handshake, and Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelenskyy seem to have, struck a different tone today. It's just the beginning of that meeting. We don't want to read a little too much into that, but Volodymyr Zelenskyy, he has arrived at the White House. Donald Trump, the US president, receiving him, and this meeting is going to start in just a short while from now. All right, let me go back to Dr. Ramachalani. Yes, sir, please complete your chain of thoughts. And also, what I want to understand from you is that Donald Trump, he has been pressing Ukraine to give up land and NATO ambitions. How should we, India, read this shift in US strategies?
First, on the facts. On the battlefield, Russia holds the strategic initiative. The military momentum is with Russia. Russian forces continue to advance in Ukraine, even if slowly. They continue to capture new territory almost every month. So the uncomfortable truth for Washington is that it risks losing a proxy war into which it has poured vast resources. Trump appears to recognize this. In the Alaska summit, it was clear that his push for a negotiated end to the war is designed to cut America's losses and refocus US strategy on the larger threat the US faces from China. After all, when you look at China and Russia in terms of their power capabilities, China dwarfs Russia in economic power, military spending, and technological capabilities. And at the global level, the US has only one challenger, which is China. Russia's ambitions are regionally confined. And what the Alaska summit showed was that Trump is seeking a reset. He is signaling America's recognition that its own missteps have helped drive Russia closer to China, fueling a de facto alliance that poses the gravest threat to America's global preeminence. So what Trump is seeking to do is to change policy that has turned two natural rivals into close strategic collaborators.
Yeah.
He wants to prioritize improved relations with Russia. That was the main outcome of the Alaska summit. And for India, that really is good news because pushing Russia closer to China affected India's vital interests.
Yeah.
And therefore, a reappraisal of American policy, a recognition that Washington's miscalculations have helped build the China-Russia partnership is good news for India.
Yeah. Before I go to Professor Anuradha Chinoy, let me go back to my colleague Nick Harper, who's there at Washington, D.C. Nick, the president of Ukraine, he has arrived. There was, a brief handshake. There were words spoken. What did you make of that brief exchange?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a very warm exchange. Donald Trump putting his hand on President Zelensky's shoulder, a long handshake, and then both of them turning to the press, smiling for several seconds, waving to the press as well. President Zelenskyy there putting up his hand. And Donald Trump, before the car arrived, just before President Zelenskyy got out of the car, seemed to make a single-fisted salute, something that Donald Trump sometimes does to signify victory. But I think it is worth bearing in mind that back in February, just before that colossal bust-up in the Oval Office, there was a similar, very warm greeting between the two leaders. A warm greeting that really gave nothing away about what was to take place within the next hour or so within the Oval Office. So really all bets are off. A very friendly, warm welcome. But what will happen now behind closed doors? It's very difficult to tell.